As you step into your 70s, have you ever wondered what truly holds meaning and what has become an unnecessary burden? Today, on Elderly Wisdom Stories, we join Mr. John, 75, as we explore why turning 70 isn't just a milestone of accumulated experience, but also the perfect time to filter out all the pressures that no longer deserve a place in our lives. In this video, we will sequentially explore the 9 things that once drove us throughout our younger years but have now lost their significance. Don't take your eyes off the screen, as at the end of the video, Mr. John will share his secret to creating a space for true freedom of mind and his key tip on how to maintain a youthful spirit despite aging. You will discover how to make each day meaningful, peaceful, and filled with true joy. Now, I'd like to know, have you ever felt burdened by worries or pressures? Please leave a 1 in the comments if you have, and a 0 if you haven't. Let's share and learn from each other. So, are you ready to join Mr. John on a journey of filtering out and rediscovering true freedom after the age of 70? Let's begin. First, let's reflect on youth, when Mr. John constantly worried about the judgmental eyes and comments of friends and neighbors. This mindset of wanting to be recognized by others led him to lose his self-confidence and continuously follow societal expectations. However, according to a study from Duke University, relying too much on external validation can reduce personal autonomy and happiness by 25%. Then, Mr. John experienced a pivotal turning point. No one lives your life but you. This was not just a simple reminder to himself, but the result of decades of lessons learned from mistakes and real-life experiences. When he realized this, he began practicing mindfulness, taking 5 minutes each day to observe his breath and ask himself, does that opinion make me happier? This method, based on the MBSR program from the University of Massachusetts, helps reduce anxiety levels by 30%. Not stopping there, Mr. John also applied the principle of shifting perspective. Whenever he heard a negative comment, he would list 3 reasons why it no longer aligned with his current values. I've tried this and noticed that just after 1 week, my mood became much calmer. I could feel the liberation from societal burdens. Finally, Mr. John advises us, freeing ourselves from societal pressure is not an act of selfishness, but the key to finding inner freedom and peace. When you are no longer afraid of disappointing anyone, you can truly live authentically and enjoy each moment that truly matters. Continuing with the habit of letting go of social pressures, let's address another invisible burden, material accumulation. Throughout his life, Mr. John was constantly chasing after bigger houses, newer cars, and wardrobes filled with clothes. However, the more things he had, the busier he became with cleaning and organizing, forgetting to truly enjoy life. Moreover, according to a study by UCLA, living in spaces filled with excessive belongings can increase stress levels and reduce concentration. When your mind is always preoccupied with cleaning, it becomes difficult to find time for hobbies or new experiences. Mr. John admits that this clutter often caused him to miss coffee dates with old friends or peaceful walks through the forest. Recognizing this, he decided to declutter and get rid of items he no longer needed. Donating old clothes and selling unused furniture not only freed up physical space, but also made him feel lighter in spirit. I personally witnessed my grandmother, after giving away piles of old books, becoming noticeably more cheerful. The air in the house suddenly feels cleaner and more refreshing, she shared. Additionally, Marie Kondo, in The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, explains that when you keep only the items that truly spark joy, you feel that your life is organized in a mental order. Mr. John applied this principle by asking himself every time he picked up an item, does this make me happy? If the answer was no, he would seriously let it go. Finally, with material possessions no longer occupying his space, Mr. John found time for more meaningful pursuits, creative freedom, exploratory trips, and a renewed spirit of learning. As a result, not only did his home become tidier, but his mind became more open, ready to embrace new experiences. In conclusion, material accumulation is a common habit, but when it becomes a burden, you must courageously let go. Try practicing the space-clearing method step by step, like Mr. John. Declutter, donate, and keep only what truly matters. By doing so, you will find lightness and complete joy in your own home. Continuing from the decluttering of material possessions, we now address another often overlooked burden that consumes significant time and energy, fulfilling unnecessary social obligations. In the past, Mr. John would reluctantly attend class reunions, work events, and neighborhood gatherings just out of politeness and the desire to maintain his image with others. However, according to a study by the University of Michigan, trying to maintain unsuitable social relationships can increase stress levels by up to 20% and significantly reduce quality of life. Moreover, at the age of 70, Mr. John realized that time is limited and energy is finite. When he was forced to attend gatherings that didn't interest him, he found that he was wasting valuable energy on meaningless conversations. From that point, he began practicing the art of politely declining. No need for long explanations, just a simple, "Thank you for the invitation, but I'd prefer to rest at home," was polite and confident enough. Furthermore, gracefully saying no is not an act of selfishness. It is, in fact, a sign of self-respect. According to the American Psychological Association, people who are good at setting personal boundaries report 30% higher satisfaction with their lives than those who lack these skills. Mr. John shares, "At first, I was worried about offending the host, but after a few times of gently saying no, I found myself feeling more energized and able to spend that time on hobbies or truly resting." Additionally, the benefit of politely declining allowed Mr. John to focus on relationships that truly bring joy. Coffee dates with close friends, afternoons reading with his grandchildren, or simply taking time to watch the sunset. By doing so, every encounter became meaningful and filled with positive energy rather than being overwhelmed by tedious obligations. In conclusion, Mr. John reminds us that saying no does not mean being rude. It's a wise life skill for those who value their time and health. By learning to prioritize yourself, you not only conserve your energy, but also show respect to both the person inviting you and yourself. Don't hesitate to set boundaries, as this is how you grant yourself the right to live fully in each moment of your later years. Continuing the redefinition of life's values, we should also reassess the pressure of chasing beauty standards. In the past, Mr. John, like many others, dedicated significant time and effort to the gym, spa treatments, and expensive skincare routines to hold on to his youthful days. However, according to a survey by the Rosenberg Self-Esteem Scale, focusing too much on appearance can decrease self-esteem and true happiness by as much as 47%. Furthermore, now that his hair has turned gray and wrinkles mark his face, Mr. John realizes that every line tells a story, from the joyful laughter to the tears shed through hardships. Rather than covering them up with makeup, he started replacing them with confidence and pride in the journey he's had. Additionally, a study by Stanford University suggests that accepting and appreciating natural beauty in later years helps reduce cortisol levels, the stress hormone, by 25%. When Mr. John stopped chasing the ideal of youth, he not only felt more at peace, but also noticed a deeper connection with himself, a mental state that no anti-aging cream can provide. To maintain his grace, Mr. John adopted a health-focused routine: morning walks, gentle stretching exercises, and 10 minutes of daily mindfulness meditation. These activities weren't aimed at altering his appearance, but rather at keeping his body and mind flexible and healthy. Personally, after practicing meditation regularly, I've found that I worry less about the wrinkles around my eyes and focus more on cultivating inner peace. Finally, Mr. John emphasizes that the true beauty of aging doesn't lie in diminishing signs of old age, but in how we showcase the stories of our lives through our eyes, smiles, and posture. When we embrace the marks of time, we break free from the cycle of societal standards and can live each moment fully. Therefore, instead of chasing the latest anti-wrinkle cream, try nurturing your soul, appreciating yourself, and sharing your story with the world. It is this authenticity and confidence that truly create a timeless appeal that transcends any layer of makeup. Continuing the process of letting go of outdated habits, let's take a moment to reevaluate activities that have long been a part of our lives, but now have lost their excitement. In the past, Mr. John was passionate about playing golf every weekend and monthly badminton matches with friends. However, over time, his legs became less flexible, and his back started to ache after each powerful swing. Additionally, research from the U.S. National Institutes of Health, NIH, shows that high-intensity activities can increase the risk of knee and back injuries in individuals over 70 by up to 40%. Furthermore, if he had insisted on maintaining these sports despite his physical condition, Mr. John would likely have ended up feeling fatigued and possibly facing more severe injuries. So rather than forcing himself onto the golf course, he chose a gentler alternative, taking walks in the park in the early morning or at sunset. Walking not only improves blood circulation, reduces the risk of bone loss, but also supports mental health. According to a study by Harvard University, just 30 minutes of walking each day can reduce anxiety and depression in older adults by 20%. Mr. John also discovered a new joy in reading books on a bench by the lake. The moment of turning each page not only allowed him to absorb knowledge, but also helped him enjoy the sound of birds singing and the gentle breeze, creating an experience he couldn't have had in a closed room. I've seen my grandmother immerse herself in novels every afternoon, and this activity helped her keep her mind sharp while greatly reducing feelings of loneliness. Finally, choosing activities that align with one's physical condition not only protects the body from injury, but also brings genuine joy and peace. Instead of lamenting the loss of more intense sports, Mr. John enthusiastically shares, "Every step I take in the park is a miracle for my soul." And this is proof that sometimes it's the simplest things, a cup of tea, a book, a shaded path, that bring the most lasting happiness and meaning. So, if you too are facing health limitations, don't hesitate to adjust your interests. Find activities that suit your current stage of life, ensuring that every day is filled with gratitude and positive energy. Continuing the journey of finding genuine joy in each relationship, Mr. John also recognized the importance of respecting and maintaining healthy connections, while courageously letting go of toxic ones. First, he shared, "There are people who only criticize and complain, leaving me heavier after every conversation." According to research from the American Psychological Association, APA, frequent exposure to negative individuals can increase the risk of depression and anxiety in older adults by up to 30%. Furthermore, after enduring relationships that only caused stress, Mr. John decided to create some distance. He didn't abruptly cut ties, but rather politely declined invitations to meet and gradually reduced the frequency of phone calls. This approach is based on the principle of maintaining a safe distance, which is recommended in psychological therapy to minimize the emotional impact without causing a complete break. Next, instead of spending time with people who drained him, Mr. John focused on nurturing relationships with sincere family and friends. He often cooked weekend meals with his children and grandchildren or had lively conversations with old friends he had known for decades. I have also noticed that after spending time with people I trust, my mood improves and I feel more energized. Moreover, Mr. John applied the principle of reinvesting in relationships, meaning whenever he received positive energy from someone, he would actively express gratitude, a thank you message, a check-in call. According to the University of Oxford, expressing gratitude can increase feelings of happiness by up to 25% and strengthen long-term relationships. Finally, by respecting toxic relationships, cutting back or directly refusing, and nurturing positive connections, Mr. John found peace and true joy. He confided, "Now, I have fewer relationships, but each one is filled with laughter and empathy." When you dare to let go of connections that weigh down your heart, you create space to welcome true friendships and loving family. As the old saying goes, a person near ink will turn black, while a person near light will shine. Always choose to be with those who brighten your soul. After gently letting go of relationships that brought negative energy, Mr. John continued to confront another joy thief, comparing himself to others. In the past, whenever he saw friends of his age traveling around Europe or posting vacation pictures, he would feel a pang of regret, wondering, why don't I have the strength or money to experience what they are? However, according to a survey by the University of Chicago, the habit of comparing oneself to others can decrease personal happiness by up to 40% and cause chronic stress. By the age of 70, Mr. John realized that comparison only took away the joy of the present and prevented him from appreciating what he already had. Instead of always looking outward, he began to focus on his own achievements, the lasting friendships with his peers, the thriving vegetable garden he tended every morning. I witnessed my grandmother, who became much happier after she stopped following the glamorous lives of acquaintances on social media and started enjoying caring for the orchids on her front porch. Moreover, research from Stanford University shows that people who practice self-reflection and compare themselves less have 30% higher self-confidence and gratitude. Mr. John adopted the practice of gratitude every evening, writing down 3 things that made him happy that day: a warm cup of tea, the sound of birds outside his window, or a heartfelt conversation with an old friend. Through this, he realized that every achievement, no matter how small, was worth appreciating. Furthermore, he practiced limiting his exposure to social media, where compare and despair mentalities often arise. Instead of scrolling through posts about others' travels or accomplishments, he spent time reading books, listening to classical music, and taking care of his health. As a result, his anxiety levels decreased significantly, and his spirit remained fresh, ready to explore new hobbies, such as painting in watercolor. Finally, by letting go of the comparison trap, Mr. John rediscovered true joy in the simple things: his grandchildren's smiles, the morning dew on the rose petals, and the deep breath of the fresh morning air. He shared, "True happiness isn't about where someone else has been, but how you embrace the moments you have." And that's the message. Live for yourself without comparison, so that each day is complete and meaningful. Continuing from the practice of letting go of comparisons, Mr. John also realized another burden that had rooted itself in his mind: holding on to outdated goals. In his 40s, he once aspired to save enough money to buy a luxurious villa, believing it to be the ultimate proof of true success. However, according to the socio-emotional selectivity theory by Stanford University, as people enter their golden years, they prioritize experiences that bring meaning and short-term happiness over distant materialistic goals. Moreover, after years of tirelessly chasing material wealth, Mr. John gradually understood that true value lies not in status or possessions, but in health, family relationships, and inner peace. This was confirmed by a Harvard University study, which found that people who are rich in social connections and mental well-being report happiness levels 60% higher, even if their income is modest. Next, to restore balance, Mr. John began redefining his goals. Instead of aiming to own a villa, he shifted to dreams like traveling with his grandchildren, planting more fruit trees in his small garden, and taking a calligraphy class to cultivate serenity. I have witnessed a friend of mine at the age of 68, after retirement, abandon plans to start a second company to teach swimming for free to disabled children. He shared that this new goal was the one that truly made his heart sing. Furthermore, abandoning old goals does not mean resignation or giving up, but rather a wise and proactive step forward. According to the American Psychological Association, APA, re-establishing goals that align with the current stage of life helps improve quality of life and reduces dissatisfaction. When Mr. John identified what truly mattered, every plan became practical and inspiring. Finally, through the process of adjusting his goals, Mr. John not only rediscovered joy in each day, but also retained a spirit of creativity and excitement. He shared, "Looking back now, I realized that letting go of the villa was simply making room for truer dreams, dreams of lasting health, close family bonds, and a peaceful soul." And that's the message. Redirecting your goals to match the golden years phase will help you live more meaningfully and fully than ever before. And that is the journey of letting go to live lightly for Mr. John. a living example that old age is not the end, but the beginning of a new chapter full of freedom, joy, and peace. When we bravely say goodbye to unnecessary worries, unnecessary material possessions, toxic relationships, and outdated goals, we are also giving ourselves the right to fully enjoy every moment. As Mr. John experienced, each morning is an opportunity to embrace life with gratitude. Gratitude for good health, for the loved ones always by our side, and for the new experiences waiting ahead. When our hearts are light, we can explore new interests, renew ourselves, and connect more deeply with the values that truly matter. If Mr. John's story has inspired you, don't forget to hit like to encourage more motivating content in the future, and especially be sure to subscribe to the Elderly Wisdom Stories channel so you don't miss out on life tips that help you live healthily, happily, and meaningfully during the golden years of life. I look forward to reading your stories and experiences. Together, we will build a community where every day is fulfilling and full of passion. No matter how old we get, our hearts can always stay young.